I record myself. I'll probably end up walking around, so I'll share a little bit of my journey, and I think it's more important, I think, kind of where you guys are coming from and understanding what does it mean to you, right? So it's nice to hear a good story of, hey, where someone else has been, but what does that mean to you, and how can you apply it in your life? I think that's far more important. And so, were any of you at the lunch before? Any of you the Denham scholars? So congratulations to you. That's fantastic. That's a lot of hard work to keep that GPA up. So one of the things that I'm passionate about is being able to help people identify ultimately what they want to do. So a lot of times when people are truly honest with themselves, and if they had the ability to do anything, they might do something differently, right? So if success was the only option, so I said to you, is it Adonis?
Yes.
If I said to you, no matter what you decide to go after, you're going to succeed, doesn't matter. You might do something differently. Now, I'll be honest with you. Even if, let's say, I had the greatest skills to play basketball, I have no desire to study film. I would be a garbage player because I wouldn't want to study. I have no desire to look over the minutia back and forth of what other people are doing and what they're playing and what positions and what different roles. Just give me a ball, I'll shoot it, and that's good. But that doesn't help you win championships. So the thing that I want to come from the perspective of is, I think one of the biggest struggles we have in life, and it doesn't matter whether you're 25 or you're 65, the biggest struggle that people have is they think that there's a certain playbook in life, and there is not. And so when we start thinking about our own lives, we put ourselves on this timeline, right? I need to be married at this time, I need to have kids at this time, I should be in a house at this time, I should have my first Bentley at this time. But you realize that that Porsche that you wanted when you were 14 years old only makes sense if you're single, because it has no legroom. And if you like golfing, it doesn't really fit golf clubs either. And so that Porsche that you might have wanted, that house that you wanted in Kingwood, doesn't make sense when you want the downtown life of Houston. And so sometimes what happens is we have these false expectations of ourselves that we think that we might want, but they were based on literally nothing. If you ask a lot of 14-year-olds how much a car costs, they have no idea. But let's say they do know. They know $30,000, and you'll tell them, how long do you think you'd have to pay that off? They'd say maybe a couple years. And they don't realize that if they make $40,000, they got to pay for everything else. And so this is this weird term that we call out there, adulting, where we have to pay for crap. It really sucks, by the way. It does. And one of the greatest things is that we're still on health insurance if you're still under the age of 26. I'm mom and dad. That is fantastic. Make sure your parents keep their health insurance, keep it strong, so we can pay for it. The other thing I think, when I think back when I was when I was in my 20s, one of the biggest things I had, besides false expectations, is that I thought I had to do it someone else's way. Right? So I've been me for a long time. That's why I don't mind having a tripod open and recording myself and putting myself out there. But I know for a lot of people, their biggest struggle is what happens in their own mind. And unfortunately, it could be the way that you were raised, the way that mom and dad treated you, or the way they did treat you. And they gave you these weird limiting beliefs that you couldn't accomplish something. If someone says that you can't do something, it's typically based on their limiting beliefs, their limiting dreams, and not yours. And so we're going to think, we're going to go at something, so you may as well make it big. You may as well go after what you truly want to do. It doesn't mean that you have to quit full time and just go all in on acting, or if you want to run your own marketing company. It doesn't mean you have to go do it all at one time. You can do it a little bit at a time. Get one client here, create one podcast there, do one drawing of animation there. I think about Stan Lee. Who knows Stan Lee? He was a nerd of sorts. You raise your hand. What's Stan Lee known for? What's that?
Superheroes.
Oh, okay, so he created a few superheroes. So if you know the era that he wrote these things, it was like in the 50s and the 60s. Typically, he wrote them for basically nerds, and they're sold. What did comic books go for back in the 50s? Does anyone know?
It was a quarter.
Like a quarter, 5 cents sometimes, a nickel, right? So this dude was not loaded. But in the last final years of his life, what happened? was insane. The guy, literally, I mean, Stan Lee is a household name, right? We know this nerdy comic book guy. I can't imagine what his life must have been like growing up. But all of a sudden, technology had matched with his passion and love for entertainment. And this weird hobby of drawing, writing, became something on the big screen. And here, when most people are not really doing much in their last part of their life, this guy was all in. He was in movies. He had sold literally millions upon millions of dollars of licensing of his own thoughts that he put down on paper. And I bet back in the 50s and 60s, I bet he had no idea that that was going to happen. Right? How could you think that eventually, somewhere down the road, someone would create a movie out of this thing when back then the 1950 movies were pretty, no offense, they're kind of lame if you watch them today. Especially if like the background of like if you're driving in a car, the background is just like a still moving photo. It doesn't necessarily lend itself for, yeah, we're gonna have like computer graphics and we're gonna make these people fly. It's gonna be really awesome. So you think about that. Another person I think of is the gentleman of Colonel Sanders. Are you guys familiar with that name? Well, KFC, finger licking good. I love KFC, by the way, but I only can hit it maybe every few months because it just is so heavy. I feel like I need a heart transplant after I have it. But so a lot of people don't know that Colonel Sanders was a total failure, complete failure. By the time he was 40, he had tried his hand at 12 different careers: the military, railroad, insurance sales. And then finally, at the age of 40, there was this phrase he heard on the radio. It said, "Life starts at 40." Now, if you're in your 20s, I hate to say it to you, but it kind of does. You got to wait till you get a little bit older. Number one, you have a network, and number two, you might have some money to invest in. So what Colonel Sanders decided to do at the age of 40, because he heard this on the radio, he goes, you know what? I'm going to open up a gas station. So he opens up this gas station out in Kentucky, and he decides to sell on the side of this gas station his Kentucky Fried Chicken. Now, it wasn't called that back then, and he mastered his 11 or 13, whatever the number of spices, herbs and spices that are in the KFC recipe. And what had happened was popularity ensued. People would go out of their way just to go to this gas station to get this finger-licking good chicken. And let's be honest, it's not the greatest chicken in the world, but it is good. And so the governor at the time of Kentucky, he gave out the